Hi there. I just wanted to share a few words in regard to the bushfire crisis and the anxiety, often called eco anxiety, that comes along with experiencing such a traumatic event that we are experiencing here in Australia with the bushfires raging, but also the anxiety and the fear and the stress that comes along with having to think about climate change more generally. So, I just want to talk about three key aspects of it. So, mind, body, soul. How can we kind of look after ourselves even whilst we have a crisis brewing or in the midst of crisis? Often that's the hardest time, but the time we need the most to actually think about these things. So, if you are experiencing stress, fear, of course, many of you watching will be in different scenarios. You might be at the coal face, really trying to fight fires, volunteer, trying to get out of danger, or watch what's happening to see if you need to act. Or you might be at some distance from the fires, but still feeling the effects and the stress, looking on, feeling hopeless or helpless, and wondering where it will all end. But it's important to focus on mind first of all, and that can involve a number of different things, but most importantly, giving yourself a break, switching off the news, turning off the television, getting away from social media, because at the moment you're going to be overwhelmed by so much stress, images, disturbing images, news. I'm not saying we're trying to deny what's going on, but it's important to have a break from it, because if we're constantly absorbing information, it's fueling a whole range of anxious what if scenarios that we can't necessarily answer. And there's nothing wrong with having some downtime and having a break. If you're in a danger situation, you might get someone else to monitor the alerts for a while if that's what you need to do. If you're at a distance from it, you probably have more flexibility to be able to disconnect. Nothing wrong with doing that. It doesn't mean we don't care, it doesn't mean we're trying to deny what's going on, but it's important to have that downtime. As an alternative, you might spend half an hour doing a meditation. It might be 10 minutes before you have to get up and act and do something, for example. Trying to calm the mind down is really important. It has a lovely calming effect on the nervous system. If we listen to a guided meditation or a mindfulness exercise, for example, starts to really slow the stress response down. So if we are activated by fear or we are triggered, we're going to be less overwhelmed by it. So whatever we can do to look after our mind is really important at this time. Body is equally important, and that might come in the form of exercise. Again, it has a lovely effect on the mind as well. If we're doing some exercise, we're disconnecting, we're burning off the excess adrenaline, which I often call worry fuel. We've got less worry fuel to feel all the what ifs and dread scenarios that might come into our minds. But it also allows us to cope better if we are facing difficulties in crisis, because we're able to maintain or keep a calmer focus if we've been able to sort of grab some time just to sort of let off some steam, let off some tension. So focusing on body from an exercise perspective is important, but where we can, also fueling our body as well with the right stuff, nourishing foods, so that we've got plenty of fuel, so that when a crisis comes along or the fear comes up, we've got more energy to try and get perspective and make conscious choices with more clarity. Um, Soul is all about, doing some stuff that we love or grabbing some moments of joy, even amongst the difficulty. It can be hard for people to let go of all the crisis, but having a laugh with a friend for half an hour, maybe watching a movie, watching a comedy show for half an hour, just taking a break and doing something you love, nothing wrong with doing that, even in a crisis. Again, it doesn't mean you don't care, but it's important to break up the tension. It will actually help you if you then have to act and do what you need to do. So those things are really, really important when we're facing crisis. But I also want to talk about adrenaline and riding the waves of adrenaline and stress. So if you are experiencing panic, stress responses being activated, I just want you to know that you will always get relief. So adrenaline, we only have a certain amount of adrenaline in our bodies at any one time. It will peak, we'll feel triggered, we'll feel really stressed, we'll have all the physical symptoms of stress raging, which will then fuel the negative thinking and worry. But just know at this time you will always get relief. You probably think back and you'll always notice that the tension drops off. When the tension drops off and we're in our calmer moments, that's when we can think about actually channeling the fear or the stress to take action. It might mean donating. It might mean volunteering if you're in a community. It might mean lobbying your MP if you're at a bit of a distance. It might mean talking about climate change more generally, finding out what you can do, doing your own research about what's going on, what can I as an individual do to influence change. Often there's a lot more we can do than we think. It might be having a serious conversation with your family about it and going, well, what can we do moving forward to really focus on climate change and become part of a society that's moving towards making real change, because often these crises that we experience can actually be real catalysts for change because we've got plenty of motivation, because we can see the devastation that's causing at the moment. But trying to just do this in the calmer moments, often the solutions, the ideas we come up with can start to help move us forward in a really positive way and empower us, even whilst a crisis is going along. So it's important to understand, ride the waves of adrenaline, know that we'll always get relief, but in the calmer moments, then using the fear that we've been feeling to go, okay, given this is the reality, what do we need to do? There's often more that we can do once we sort of, with cool heads or calmer minds, start to think about it. We can, as I said, lobby our MPs, lobby our workplaces, make conscious choices ourselves, talk about it more, have proactive conversations with our friends, do more research to really empower ourselves so that we can be part of society's change as we move towards dealing with a difficult climate. This is just a starting point, so I hope you find this of use. I've put other videos around managing panic attacks and managing stress on the YouTube site, so if you find those useful as well, please feel free to share it with anyone who you find it, who may find it of use. In the meantime, I hope you can stay calm and look after yourselves and those around you.